What's going on, guys? Drew here. In this video, we're gonna find out if it's really worth it to upgrade and overhaul a Temu guitar. This is my Temu guitar overhaul video. Stick around, you're not gonna wanna miss this one. Alright guys, so a couple weeks ago I came out with a video on this very Temu guitar, and I don't think I've ever received more negative comments than I ever have in that one video. So there's a lot of different people checking out my channel because of that video, and I'm very thankful for the views, but I literally wake up to a negative comment every day. I think that's just par for the course with making guitar related YouTube videos. Yes, Temu did send me this guitar, and they asked me to make a video about it. They asked me to say a few things about Temu as a company, like how their shipping and returns work, and some of the benefits of using Temu, which I did mention in that video. And I told them that the only way I would make a Temu video is if they were cool with me sharing my honest opinion about the guitar. I feel like I did that in that video. I shared some of the pros and cons of using Temu to buy guitar equipment. So I heard from a lot of people saying like, yes, like this is a great deal on a guitar. And then I heard from other people that are like, you know, Temu is just there to steal your data. Drew, you're in bed with Temu for making a video on one of their guitars, which I feel like I talked very clearly and openly about the pros and cons of this guitar. And there were several issues with it that I'll reiterate in this video as well. All in all, I feel like Temu is a great option if you're looking for very cheap guitars and effects pedals and guitar related things. What we're going to talk about are the pros and cons of this guitar, some of the things that I found to be flaws with this instrument, and then we'll talk about all of the different things that I changed on this guitar to make it the guitar that it is in this video, and we'll go over the costs associated with that, and then I'll let you decide if you think it's worth it to buy a guitar like this from Temu and upgrade it similarly to the way that I did. So first, let's talk about some of the pros of a guitar like this. So this is essentially a $100 guitar. It's not a $100 guitar anymore, but when I first got it, it really did play like a real guitar. There were several things that I didn't like about it, but I thought, hey, if I was a younger kid, maybe age 9 to 15, this would not be a terrible place to start on your guitar journey with. Now, personally, I think if you can afford a more expensive instrument for your child, or if you're a beginner, I think you should spend at least like $350 to $400. Maybe find something used on Facebook Marketplace from a local guitar hobbyist. I would probably send you there first, rather than buying a $100 guitar that you're gonna have to take in and get a few little modifications and tweaks done to it. For $100, this was not a bad guitar. And from far away, this is a great looking guitar. I think the paint on this instrument is really nice. Obviously, when you get up close, you'll notice that there are flaws on it. It's certainly not a PRS or a higher end Ibanez paint job, but it really does have a pretty nice finish on it. There was some fret glue that I had to sand off of the fingerboard, and some other issues that we'll get into later. But just overall, this guitar, it has, you know, 3 different pickups, a 5-way switch. You know, it's a great kind of rock and roll shredder's guitar to get started with. Now, let's talk about some of the issues that I had with this guitar. So I found the electronics that came with this guitar to be quite noisy because they are the cheapest possible electronics that you could put into an electric guitar. So one of the first things that I did to this guitar is take all of the electronics out, okay, all of the pickups, and I installed some Seymour Duncan humbuckers in this guitar. The single coil in the middle is still the same single coil, but I went with a Seymour Duncan JB and 59 set. So the JB is in the bridge and the 59 is in the neck, and later on in the video, we'll compare what these new pickups sound like to the original pickups that were in the guitar. Basically, I completely redid all the electronics. There's new 500K pots in this guitar, and there is a new tone capacitor, a really nice vintage style tone capacitor, a Oak Grigsby 5-way switch, And then another thing that I did to this guitar was I completely changed the bridge out. So this is a Musiclily Bridge that I got off of Amazon. It's also made in China, but it has this huge brass block on the back of it. What I find is that this bridge really impacts the overall tone. This guitar was shipped with a bridge that had a solid metal plate on the bottom, but then it had plastic saddle pieces that the strings sat on. So in my opinion, you're not going to get a very great tone out of plastic saddles. Another really simple upgrade that I did for this guitar was I put Japanese Gotoh tuning machines on here. So I took all of the original ones out. I did have to re-drill the holes because the holes didn't line up. But this guitar now has really nice Gotoh tuning machines made in Japan, something like you would find on a 90s Ibanez. So essentially what I did to upgrade this guitar is I put new pickups, except for the middle pickup, new volume pot, 500K volume pot, new tone pot, 500K as well, with a nice vintage style capacitor, really nice 5-way switch here, new metal knobs because the original knobs were like very plasticky and not very nice. What we have now is a pretty nice playing and sounding guitar. Another thing that I did is I actually took this guitar to my friend Matt, who is a guitar tech, and I had him clean up the frets because as you run your hand across the neck, you did get caught by some of these frets. So in the guitar industry, I think they call that fret sprout, where, you know, the wood shrinks, like expands and contracts, but the frets stay the same because they're metal. So what ends up happening, your hand will kind of, it won't get cut up on the frets, but it'll just get caught by the frets, and that's not a very comfortable thing to feel when you're playing guitar. So Matt cleaned up the frets. He did a fret level on this guitar and basically just made sure every note is playable on an instrument like this. And then he set up the bridge and did an intonation for me just to save me some time. That costs $120, okay, to get a tech to do that, and I would even say he cut me a deal on something like that. So to take this guitar into a tech and get the frets cleaned up a little bit, get them re-crowned and leveled, make sure that every note is playable on the instrument. Matt also looked at the electronics. To do all of that, it costs me $120. So we'll kind of start there as we start tallying up all of the different components that were upgraded on this guitar. So let's get into that right now. So the Seymour Duncan pickups, I actually got a really great deal on these on Reverb, and I paid $184 for the set. And they come in a little box like this. These are the original pickups in the pickup boxes here. But I ordered these from a guitar company on Reverb, and they were shipped to my house within like 2 days. And that was a really smooth and great experience. So we've got the nice pickups in there. This Musiclily Bridge was $75, okay? But I think this would be a great option. Maybe you have a Fender Squire or a cheaper Strat style guitar. This is a really great drop-in upgrade bridge, and you can get it on Amazon. The other thing I like about this bridge is it has a set screw for the whammy bar. So the whammy bar stays wherever you want it. If you want it to move around more, you can of course loosen the set screw, but that was one thing that I really loved about this bridge. The 5-way switch was not expensive at all. I think I got that off of Amazon as well. That was $11. I didn't have any nice cloth wire to put in this guitar, so I had to order some of that, which you can also find on Amazon, and that was $16.95. The metal knobs were $8.99, not a very expensive thing. The cost of the new pots were $24.95, and then the cost of labor to put those electronics in and clean up the frets, that was $120. So all in all, the total price of the upgrades that I've made to this guitar total up to $444.43. And then you add the cost of the guitar to that. Let's say this guitar was $100. I think I've seen it as expensive as $140, but with the coupons that you can get on Temu, I think you can get this guitar or something like this guitar for right around $100. So the total cost of this guitar, this is now a $544 guitar, which is kind of crazy to me. So the problem with putting together a project guitar like this is that the parts themselves, if you want to put USA made or high quality parts into a guitar like Seymour Duncan pickups, it's going to be more expensive. And in my opinion, it's not really worth it to do this, okay? Because I can't really turn around and sell this guitar for $544. There's just no way anybody would pay that. I might be able to get like $250 out of this guitar with the upgrades and everything on it. I don't think it's really worth it to do this, which hopefully that's why I did this, so that I can save some of you guys from doing that. But you might be the type of guy that has a bunch of guitar parts, old guitar parts, pickups, switches, just old things, and you could upgrade one of these Temu guitars and maybe give it to your kid. I would think that the number of people out there that can actually install those parts into their guitar to give to their kid or their neighbor or whoever is a very slim number of people out there. So for the average consumer out there, what I would recommend that you do is go on Facebook Marketplace, look for an Indonesian or Korean-made Ibanez, maybe from the 90s, maybe from the early 2000s. I think you can find a really killer Ibanez guitar, maybe even made in Japan, for between $400 and $650 in your area. I think that's definitely possible, rather than ordering this $100 guitar and trying to upgrade it. I mean, it was fun to put this project together, and it is fun to make videos on stuff like this. My personal opinion is look around, see what kind of used instruments are out there. Maybe bring a guitar friend with you if you don't know much about used guitars and you want to make sure the guitar you're buying from some random person off Facebook Marketplace is legit. Bring a guitar friend with you and have them look at the guitar. So I think that's a great way to go. So what we're going to do next in this video is plug in this Temu guitar to my Mesa Boogie JP2C and see how it sounds. Here we go. Yeah, so one thing I'll say is that even after a professional setup on this guitar, it doesn't play very well. And I suppose I could lower the action a little bit more, but I would say these frets are like medium jumbo. So on a shredder guitar, you probably would want jumbo frets, but these are more medium-sized frets, and you really have to press the strings down to play the notes. So it just doesn't feel good, even with some professional guitar work. So I figured I'd throw that in there too. This guitar just doesn't play very well, if I'm being completely honest with you. So what we'll do now is try it on some of the high gain channels. Here we go. Well, there you go, guys. That is my Temu guitar overhaul video. I hope you got some value out of watching me talk about the expenses associated with upgrading a guitar like this. I do think it's a pretty nice guitar. In terms of trying to get a really nice instrument out of it, I would recommend getting a whole other new guitar or used guitar that already has some nice components, maybe the original pickups and all of the original appointments, because chances are that's going to be a better guitar than buying a $100 Temu guitar and trying to upgrade it with $400 worth of parts. I would not do that again. Feel free to let me know in the comments what route you would take if you wanted to upgrade a Temu guitar, or if you were to buy a guitar in that price range between $350 and maybe $600, $700. What would you buy for that price? I feel like that is a big hole in the market right now. I feel like there are a lot of really cheap guitars, and then as you get above $1,500, guitars are just really expensive right now. And the prices of Fenders and Gibsons, that kind of every man's, working man's guitar price range, I feel like that's starting to disappear. Feel free to let me know your thoughts on that subject in the comment section below. Thank you so much for being here. Please subscribe, please like this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.